Planet Dolan.
From the bank-robbing version of Daredevil to one of the largest diamond heists ever, we look at 8 amazing robberies. 8. Banco Central Caper. One of the biggest problems with trying to tunnel into a bank is, what do you do with all that dirt? Well, the thieves in the Banco Central Caper had the brightest idea. Set up a fake landscaping business. Transporting the dirt away, the group was able to build a sophisticated 250-foot-long tunnel right into the bank vault. Hell, the thing even had lights and ventilation. It did take the group 3 months, but considering they walked away with $165 million, not a bad payday for a little bit of hard labor. Most of the gang is still at large, and only a few million has been recovered. 7. Santa Robbery. You can't trust anyone these days, especially not someone dressed up as Santa, because damn it, he's packing heat. Well, when we say these days, we really mean 1927. See, this Texan Santa spent the day talking to children on the street before he and 3 other armed men held up the First National Bank of Cisco. After being spotted by a child, Santa and his elves took 2 little girls hostage and fled the scene. Luckily, the girls were later found unharmed and Santa was locked up. However, the general townsfolk didn't like that idea and decided to form a lynch mob and executed him. This should be the actual plot for Bad Santa 2. 6. Hillbilly Heist. Believe it or not, but one of the largest heists in US history was referred to by the media as the Hillbilly Heist. The Loomis Fargo robbery got this title because the mastermind was, well, a hillbilly. So how did this guy pull it off? Well, Vault Supervisor David Gant worked out, hey, this place is understaffed and I have all the keys to take the money. And he did, taking $17.3 million at his own leisure before fleeing to Mexico. David only got caught because his accomplices were dumber than him, spending large amounts of cash within days after. They bought a $600,000 mansion, a new BMW, and a velvet painting of Elvis. Yeah, when you go from living in a mobile home to a mansion, people are gonna start asking questions. 5. Brian Douglas Wells. If you somehow crossed Saw with Dog Day Afternoon, then you'd probably end up with something a lot like this true crime. Brian Douglas Wells, a pizza delivery man, walks into a local bank with something the size of a shoebox under his t-shirt. He hands a note to the teller saying he has a bomb and to hand over $25,000. Leaving after collecting only $8,000, he's stopped by police and tells them he has a bomb strapped to his neck, but shortly after, it explodes, killing him. Police find a series of instructions in his car telling him to follow a scavenger hunt style route to find keys that'll get the bomb off. But as far as police can tell, Wells was never meant to complete the task. The bomb was going to go off either way. Eventually, it was found by the courts to be a plot by local murderer Diehl Armstrong. 4. Saddam's Robbery. Being a dictator has some amazing advantages, such as being able to go to the bank and take out however much money as you want. Because who's gonna say no to that iron fist, am I right? Saddam Hussein did just this the day before Operation Iraqi Freedom began. Sending his son down to the Central Bank of Iraq with a note saying, "Give my daddy all the money," tellers poured out $1 billion over 5 hours. Of course, this wasn't from Saddam's personal account or anything. The bank just gave him all the money they had. Turns out, over half of it ended up being stuffed in the palace walls, which is an odd place to hide it considering you're about to be invaded. 3. Brinksmat. Even when a heist goes wrong, it can be a blessing in disguise. For the robbers, I mean. One of the largest gold heists in UK history happened kinda by accident. In 1983, a group of criminals broke into one of the most secure warehouses in England thinking they were taking £1 million. But what they actually found was a newly arrived deposit of gold, 3 tons worth £26 million. They had been let in by an inside man, guard Tony Black, and proceeded to pour petrol onto the other guards, threatening to set them alight if they caused trouble. The robbers mostly got away. 3 were convicted, including Black, but the gold was never recovered. 2. Antwerp Diamond Caper. They call this one the heist of the century, and it's not hard to see why. Antwerp is to diamonds as what Las Vegas is to gambling. meaning that many criminals have tried to get at its sweet, gem-filled center. This heist took years of preparation, with ringleader Leonardo Notarbartolo renting out an office in the building and posing as a diamond merchant for 3 years. Then when the day came, he and a crew of 4 broke through 10 walls of high-tech security, Mission Impossible style, making out with $100 million worth of stones. While the criminals were caught, the diamonds were never found. 1. Daredevil turns bad. Turns out being blind does give you superpowers, including the power to pull off multiple bank robberies. After being released from prison in 1974, blind criminal Robert Toy decided to put some knowledge he learned in the slammer to good use. Hearing that bank tellers were instructed to comply with demands, he entered a branch and threatened the staff with a note written on a one-eyed Jack playing card. Surprisingly, Toy got away with the crime and managed to rob another 17 banks using the same method, only getting caught because he decided to go to a discount store after one of the robberies. According to Toy, he gave a large sum of his loot to charities, making him a kind of blind Robin Hood.
A huge thanks to our friends over at List25 for narrating today's countdown. Click here for a video that Dolan narrated over on List25's channel. Now let's end today's video with a question. What's the best lie you ever got away with when you were little? Let us know in the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. That's all for today. Take care.
By pretending they wanted to work through their lunch hour, they managed to overpower a number of guards and some fellow nosy prisoners. Many of the people that they overpowered were lured into a deserted maintenance area, and then, bang! They were bopped on the back of the head.